Hi, welcome to Mennonite Farmhouse. I'm Leanne. If you're new, I do cooking and baking from scratch, canning and dehydrating videos, and anything else that might go around the kitchen island. And if that interests you, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you find value in this video, please hit the thumbs up. It really helps my channel to grow, and I sure do appreciate it. Today, we are canning pineapple. It is very easy and simple to do, so if you're somebody new to canning, I highly recommend pineapple. As long as you have a husband that can cut up the pineapple for you. It's really easy then. So we're going to show you step by step how I go through and do it safely through the National Center for Food Home Preservation. If you aren't familiar with what that organization does, it is the government standards of food safety. They actually test the food to make sure it is properly canned, to make sure you don't have any chance of getting botulism or E. coli or anything else that might happen when you open that jar up. Alright, let's get to canning, shall we? We are going to wash the pineapple, we are going to cut them dry, then we're going to start cutting them up. Just wanted to bring it to your attention. This number you see right here, that's the size of your pineapple. Bigger the number, the smaller the pineapple. So these are all 7s, and I paid $1.79 for them, which is pretty cheap. We're going to make sure good. And I'm using the directions that are found in the ball book on page 26. And the first step is washing the pineapple under running cold water. Drain and cut off the tops and core and peel. All right, the next step, you want to wash your jars. You put them in the canner to get hot. Since we are hot packing the pineapple into the jars, the jar should be hot as well. And you also want to double check. You want to double check, make sure there's no chips on the top of all your jars. I wanted to mention, I have a dedicated jar brush that I got from a Mennonite store. I only use this to clean my jars. I have a second one for anything else in my life. This is what my mom's used, and so this is what I use. They're about $5 to $7 at a Mennonite dry goods store. Okay, so I have 9 jars in here, which is a canner load. It's easier to know how much water you still need left over after you fill up all your jars if you have all the jars filled with water before you start. That's a good indication of how much water you still need after you fill up the canner with your filled jars. I hope that makes sense. Pineapple is naturally sweet and doesn't need much sugar, so I'm making the ultra light syrup on this pineapple, which is 8 cups of water to 1.5 cups of sugar. When using a pineapple tool, you want to make sure you cut straight down and don't do any slants, because it makes using that tool a lot harder. Ask me how I know. Now, I highly recommend using a cookie sheet with a cutting board on top of that to collect all your juices from running onto the counter. In this video, I'm not showing you how I'm going to use the rest of the pineapple scraps to make juice. That will be another video. Once you have your pineapple all cut up, you want to add it to your syrup and simmer that 10 minutes to get it warm. Once the pineapple is heated through, remove 1 or 2 jars at a time from your canner and fill with the pineapple and then the syrup, and use a 1/2 inch headspace. Then use your debubbler tool to knock out any air that might be trapped inside the jar, which is very crucial. Then measure your headspace once more and 1/2 inch. Then with a moist paper towel, you want to wipe your rims dry and clear of any debris that might be on the lid from the pineapple. Then you want to place your lid and your ring on the jar and do a fingertip tight, and don't crank it down or you'll have buckling and you will not get a seal. Then place your jar back in the canner until you have all your jars filled. Once all your jars are in the canner, make sure you have at least 1 inch of water above your jars before you start processing. The stove on medium-high heat, you want to wait till you have a rolling boil and start your timer for 15 minutes if you're at sea level. If you're at a different altitude, please check what time to process at. And quartz would process for 20 minutes at sea level to 1,000 feet. When the timer goes off, you want to restart your timer for 5 minutes and turn the burner off and remove the lid. You want to encourage a slow cooling of your jars. That will help with less siphoning and for a better seal. Now when you remove the jars, you want to gradually take them out. So I just use the holder there to raise them up all at the same time and leave them maybe a minute or two. And this helps with the water still on the lids to drain off. And you should never tilt your jar over when you're bringing it out to get rid of that water. It might cause more problems than you think. Alright, it is the next morning. It's been at least 12 hours. So, if you don't know how to check to see if your seal is good, you just, and if it does fall, that just means it wasn't a good seal. And also, if you press down and if it comes back up, that's also a sign that it's not sealed. Alright, we're gonna head over to the sink here and get to washing up the jars. Alright, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of white vinegar. That is for anybody that has hard water, and hard water will stain your jars like nothing. Alright, the main part of where you want to wash your jars is around where the rings were. Make sure you get all that stickiness, because when I started out, I didn't know to wash jars. I would have mold growing on my tomato jars, and it was pretty sick. So that's why you want to wash your jars. You also want to make sure you're washing your rings and making sure they're dried completely quickly so they don't rust on you. Then you just want to label the tops with what's in the jar and the date you processed, and then store in a cool, dark place until it's ready to open up that jar when it's snowing outside and think of Hawaii. Well, thanks for stopping by the farmhouse today. I hope you enjoyed your visit, and God bless. See you soon.